At Thanksgiving, Mom said sister's wedding was great. When's yours? I replied. Had mine 6 months ago, the moment everything changed. Have you ever had that moment where you finally tell the truth and the entire room goes silent? That moment when you stop protecting the people who never protected you. That's exactly what happened to me at the Thanksgiving dinner. And what came next changed my family forever. My name is Charlotte Hayes, and for 32 years, I played the role of the invisible daughter, the one who smiled through the pain, who made room for her golden sister, who never caused a scene. But at Thanksgiving 2024, I finally broke my silence, and the truth I revealed shattered the perfect family image my mother had spent decades building. Let me take you back to where it all began. Growing up in my sister's shadow from the time I could walk, I understood my place in the Bennett family hierarchy. My younger sister, Madison, was the sun around which our entire family orbited. I was just a distant planet, cold and easy to forget. It wasn't always cruel. Sometimes it was subtle, a redirected conversation, a forgotten recital, a birthday dinner planned around Madison's soccer tournament schedule instead of the actual date of my birth. My parents, Victoria and James Bennett, were monsters. They were just selective about where they placed their attention. Madison got the spotlight. I got the leftovers. By the time we were teenagers, the pattern had solidified into something undeniable. Our whole we looked like a shrine to Madison's achievements. Dance trophies, cheer captain photos, academic awards ranged with museum-quality precision. My science fair ribbons, they lived in a box in my closet because Mom said the hallway was getting too cluttered. I learned early not to complain. Complaining made me difficult. Complaining made Mom sigh that exhausted sigh and say things like, "Why can't you just be happy for your sister?" So I stopped complaining. I stopped expecting. I adapted. But adaptation has its limits. Seattle. My escape to Oxygen. When I was 26, I moved to Seattle for a job analyzing environmental water data. It wasn't a dramatic exit. I didn't slam doors or make declarations. I just left, and for the first time in my life, I could breathe. Seattle gave me space to become someone other than Madison's sister. I found an apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows that let in beautiful gray light. I filled it with plants, research papers, and the kind of comfortable silence that doesn't feel lonely. And then I met Owen. Owen Chen was a hydrologist I met at a water conservation conference in Portland. He was brilliant, funny, and most importantly, he saw me, not the role I played in my family, not the shadow version of myself I'd become, but the actual person I was trying to be. He remembered details about my work. He asked follow-up questions about projects I'd mentioned weeks earlier. He introduced me to his parents, Helen and Robert, who treated me like I mattered from day one. Helen hugged me like she meant it, holding on an extra second, making sure I felt it. She asked about my research, my childhood, my dreams, not to fill conversational space, but because she genuinely wanted to know. For the first time, I understood what it felt like to be seen. When Owen proposed on a foggy June morning at Golden Gardens Park, overlooking the water with Mount Rainier barely visible in the distance, I said yes before he even finished the question. We wanted something simple, intimate, real, a small coastal chapel, 50 people who actually knew us. Vows we wrote ourselves. The only thing I wanted, quietly, desperately, was for my family to show up. The invitations that disappear ready designed the invitations myself. Cream cardstock with delicate watercolor waves in blues and greens, reflecting both our work with water and the Pacific Northwest we'd come to love. I had them professionally printed, addressed them in careful calligraphy, and mailed them with signature confirmation required. I wasn't being paranoid. I was being realistic. My family had a documented history of misplacing things that didn't directly benefit Madison. I triple-checked the addresses. I tracked the packages obsessively, refreshing the USPS website like it was my job. When all 4 packages, one for my parents, one for Madison and her fiancé Ryan, and if her extended family showed as delivered and signed for on April 23, 2024. I finally exhaled. Then came the silence. No congratulations text, no phone call, not even a passive-aggressive comment in the family group chat. Just nothing. At first, I made excuses. They're busy. They'll call this weekend. Madison's planning her own wedding. They're probably overwhelmed. But days turned into weeks, and the silence grew heavier, more deliberate. I tried reaching out, called Mom 3 times. All went to voicemail. Texted Dad, got a "will call you later" that never materialized. The family group chat, the one that had existed since I was in college, suddenly didn't show my name anymore. I hadn't been removed dramatically. I'd been erased quietly. Maybe it's a technical glitch. I told Owen one night while we loaded the dishwasher, trying to keep my voice steady. Owen dried his hand slowly, that particular way he did when he was thinking carefully. "Cat," he said, using the nickname only he was allowed to use. Did they ever respond at all? Even once? I shook my head. "Let me help you check something," he said. The digital trail of betrayal. Owen worked in tech before switching to hydrology. He knew things about digital footprints, email logs, and account access that I'd never thought to explore. He helped me access the activity logs for our family email account, the one we all technically had access to but that Mom primarily managed. There it was, glowing on my laptop screen like evidence at a crime scene. Wedding announcement. Charlotte Bennett and Owen Chen opened. April 24, 2024, 9:47 a.m. deleted. April 24, 2024, 9:48 a.m. device. Madison's iPhone stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Owen's hand found my shoulder. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. But I wasn't surprised. Not really. Deep down, I'd known. I'd known since the first week of silence. I'd just been hoping I was wrong. I pulled up the postal tracking receipts next, for packages, for signature confirmations, and there, in that distinctive looping handwriting I'd seen on birthday cards and grocery lists my entire life, was Madison's signature, all 4 invitations, signed for by my sister on April 23rd. She'd intercepted them, deleted my email announcement, made sure no one in my family knew about my wedding at all. Why? Owen asked. Though we both already knew, Madison's wedding was planned for September 14th, 2024. 350 guests, a custom Vera Wang gown, an orchestral quartet, a 12-tier cake, a destination-style celebration at a vineyard in Napa Valley that cost more than my annual salary. Her entire identity, her entire life, revolved around being the center of attention. My small, quiet June wedding, even tucked away in the Pacific Northwest, had the potential to draw attention away from hers, and Madison never shared attention well. My wedding day, without them. June 8th, 2024, dawn gray and misty, quintessentially Seattle. The chapel set right on the coast, waves crashing softly against the rocks below, seabirds calling overhead. 50 people who truly loved us filled the wooden pews. Helen cried during our vows. Robert squeezed Owen's shoulder when he choked up. My college roommate Sarah read a poem about finding your way home. Owen's sister gave a toast that made everyone laugh and cry at the same time. It was perfect, intimate, real. But there was an empty pew near the front where my family should have been sitting. I'd saved it anyway, some desperate, stubborn part of me still hoping they'd show up. They didn't. And in every wedding photo, you can see the empty space if you know where to look. After the wedding, after the honeymoon in Vancouver Island, after we returned to our normal life, the silence from my family continued. It wasn't just neglect anymore. It was intentional erasure. I told myself I was fine. I threw myself into my work, into my marriage, into the life I'd built. But underneath, something was hardening. Not into bitterness exactly, but into clarity, the kind of clarity that comes when you finally stop lying to yourself. The Thanksgiving invitation in November, Mom called, not to ask how I'd been, not to acknowledge the 6-month gap in our communication, but to confirm I was coming to Thanksgiving. Of course you're coming, she said. Not quite a question. Madison and Ryan will be there. It'll be nice to have everyone together. I almost laughed. Everyone together. As if I'd been there all along. I'll think about it. I said, Charlotte, don't be difficult. It's Thanksgiving. Family comes together at Thanksgiving. That word, family, like it meant something. Like they'd earned the right to use it. I almost declined. Almost let them keep pretending I didn't exist. But pretending was what built this mess in the first place. So I made a different choice. I decided to go. And I decided to bring the truth with me. Thanksgiving. The performance before the stormy parents' house in Bellevue looked like something from a home and garden magazine. White tablecloth, polished silver, a massive turkey that Dad carved with surgical precision. Candles flickering with manufactured warmth. Madison posed for photos by the fireplace with Ryan, her husband of exactly 2 months. Mom narrated every detail of their spectacular September wedding to anyone within earshot. Her voice pitched at that particular frequency that demanded attention. The Napa Vineyard was absolutely stunning. 350 guests. The Vera Wang gown had to be altered 3 times to get it perfect. And the cake.
Oh my goodness, 12 tiers with real edible gold leaf. People are still talking about it, and quote, no one asked about me. No one mentioned that I looked different, happier, more settled. No one noticed the simple gold band on my left hand. I took my seat directly across from Madison. She didn't look at me. Didn't have to. We'd perfected the art of existing in the same space without acknowledging each other years ago. Dinner began with the usual script. Praise for Madison's dress, her venue, her guest list, her Instagram perfect life. Every sentence was a reminder that they'd shown up for her, over and over, without hesitation, while they couldn't bother to acknowledge anything about my life. Then Mom tapped her crystal wine glass with her wedding ring, that sharp ting that meant she had an announcement or a toast or some statement that required everyone's attention. And quote, Madison's wedding was absolutely magnificent, and quote, Mom said, beaming at my sister, and quote, simply the most beautiful celebration I've ever seen, and quote. She turned to me then, her smile bright and dangerous, and quote, so, Charlotte, when's yours? When are you finally going to settle down and give us a wedding to attend? And quote. A few people chuckled. Aunt Carol, Dad's sister, smirked into her wine glass. Uncle Tom raised his eyebrows like the question was reasonable, even funny. Dad kept carving turkey with intense focus, like it was the most important task in the world. Madison kept her eyes on her plate. Too still, too careful. That told me everything. For years, I would have laughed it off, let the jab slip under my skin, pretended it didn't hurt. But not this time. Not after everything they'd buried. The truth surfaces. I set my fork down gently. The small sound seemed loud in the sudden quiet. And quote. I already had mine, and quote. I said, my voice steady and clear. And quote. 6 months ago. June 8th, and quote. The shift in the room was immediate. Forks froze mid-air. Wine glasses paused halfway to mouths. Mom's smile collapsed into confusion. I waited a beat, let the silence land heavy and uncomfortable, then added, and quote. You all got invitations, and quote. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. And quote. What? And quote. Mom breathed, her hand flying to her chest. Dad put down the carving knife slowly. And quote. Charlotte, we never received any invitations, and quote. There it was. The lie. The familiar deflection. The story they'd tell themselves to avoid accountability. I felt something inside me settle. Not anger. Not revenge. Clarity. and quote. I figured you'd say that, and quote. I replied softly. I reached into my bag, pulled out my phone, and placed it on the table. The screen glowed against the white tablecloth, reflecting in the wine glasses, catching the candlelight like a blade. Every pair of eyes locked onto it. This was the line I'd never crossed before, the boundary I'd never drawn. The moment I stopped allowing myself to be rewritten. And quote, these, and quote, I said, tapping the screen to open my receipts folder, and quote, are the USPS tracking confirmations for 4 priority mail packages sent April 19th, delivered April 23rd, and quote. I rotated the phone so everyone could see. 4 delivery confirmations, 4 signature requirements, 4 signatures, all marked received. I zoomed in on the first one. The signature at the bottom was unmistakable. That distinctive looping handwriting. The oversized M. The flourish on the N. Madison. Mom gasped. Dad leaned forward like he needed to see it closer or it wouldn't count. Ryan, Madison's husband, stiffened in his chair, his eyes darting from the screen to his wife like she'd suddenly started speaking a language he didn't know. She understood. Madison didn't move. Her face was perfectly still, frozen like a mask. And quote, these were delivered to your house, and quote, I continued, my voice calm, too calm. And quote, all 4 wedding invitations, signed for by Madison on April 23rd at 2:47 p.m., and quote, dead silence. And quote, Charlotte, this must be a mistake, and quote, Dad whispered, but his voice had no conviction. And quote, it's not, end quote. I said, swiping to the next screenshot. And quote, this is the tracking log from the Postal Service. Priority mail, signature required, all confirmed delivered, and quote. I paused, then added quietly. And quote. And all intercepted before anyone else could see them. And quote. And quote. No, and quote, Mom said, shaking her head like she could deny reality away. And quote. No, that makes no sense. Madison would. Never, she wouldn't. There has to be some explanation. And quote. And quote, Mom, and quote. I said gently, but firmly. And quote. Stop. You keep saying what Madison wouldn't do, but you never look at what she actually does. And quote. That landed. Mom's mouth closed. Her hands trembled slightly as she sat down. Her wine glass. Ryan finally spoke, his voice low and tight. And quote, Madison, did you sign for these? And quote, Madison blinked. Once, twice, mechanical, like she was trying to reboot her expression. And quote, I don't remember. I grab the mail sometimes, but I didn't see any wedding invitations. I would have said something. And quote, I stayed quiet. I'd learned long ago that silence is sometimes louder than any accusation. So I let it sit, heavy and damning. Dad stared at Madison, his jaw working. And quote, you didn't see 4 packages from your sister around the time you knew she was engaged. 4 separate packages, and quote, and quote. It's not my job to track everyone's mail, and quote. Madison snapped, the first crack in her composure sharp enough to cut. It was the wrong move. The defensive tone, the deflection, it confirmed everything. And quote, sweetheart, and quote, Mom started, reaching toward Madison. And quote, no, and quote. I interrupted, my voice still calm. And quote, let her talk. She's been controlling the narrative for years. Let her explain this one. And quote, Madison glared at me, real anger flashing across her face for the first time. And quote, "What's that supposed to mean?" And quote, I didn't answer directly. Instead, I swiped to another screenshot. And quote, "This is the activity log for the family email account. The wedding announcement I sent on April 24th was opened from this house, then permanently deleted within 1 minute." And quote, Dad's jaw tightened visibly. And quote, "Who has access to that account?" And quote, everyone at the table knew the answer. Madison managed the family email, had the password, checked it regularly for and quote, important family correspondence, and quote, Madison's composure finally shattered. And quote, "I didn't delete anything," and quote, she said, "Too fast, too defensive," and quote, "I don't even remember seeing an email," and quote, I tilted my head slightly. And quote, "Then why does the log show your device ID? Your iPhone specifically?" And quote, her mouth opened, closed, opened again. And quote, maybe I clicked it by accident. I don't know. Why are you attacking me like this? And quote, "I'm not attacking you," and quote, I said. And quote, "I'm showing you what you did," and quote, Mom exhaled harshly, her face flushed. And quote, "Why would Madison hide your invitations? Why would she sabotage your wedding? That's absolutely ridiculous. There has to be another explanation." And quote, there it was, the sentence she'd been polishing my entire life. The defense she used for every bruise Madison ever left on me, emotional or otherwise. And quote, "Why?" And quote, I repeated, turning to look directly at Madison. And quote, "Because my wedding was in June. Yours was in September. You didn't want anyone talking about mine before yours." And quote, Madison flinched like I'd physically struck her. And quote, "That's insane," and quote, she hissed. And quote, "You always twist everything to make me look bad," and quote, "No," and quote, I said, my voice steady as bedrock. And quote, "You did that yourself," and quote, Ryan's chair scraped loudly against the hardwood floor as he stood abruptly. And quote, "Madison, is this true?" And quote, she stared down at her napkin, her breathing uneven. And quote, "I don't. This is, everyone always thinks Charlotte is so perfect, so independent. She never needs anything. She never wants anything. She just exists quietly and makes everyone feel," and quote, "Feel what?" and quote, I asked softly. Madison shot to her feet. And quote, "Feel guilty. Feel small. Feel like she doesn't even have to try, and she's still somehow better than me." And quote, there it was, the real confession. Not about the invitations, but about every year before them. Every achievement of mine that got minimized, every milestone that got overlooked, every moment I was made invisible. And quote, "So you hid my wedding," and quote, I said, leaning back slightly. And quote, "Because what?" "Because it was quiet, because it didn't compete with your 6-tier cake and rented vineyard," and quote, "That's not," and quote, Madison gasped, but the truth was already hanging in the air like smoke. And quote, "Charlotte," and quote, Dad said desperately, his voice cracking. And quote, "We didn't know. If we'd known, we would have come. We would have," and quote, "You would have come," and quote, I finished for him, and quote, after years of missing every milestone that mattered to me. After forgetting birthdays. After making sure Madison's needs always came first. And quote, he closed His eyes couldn't even deny it. Mom's face twisted with something between anger and devastation. And quote, "You can't put all of this on us. We did our best. We tried to be fair to both of you, and quote, no, and quote," I said clearly, and quote, "You did your best for Madison. For me, you did the bare minimum and called it fairness." And quote, Madison sat down abruptly, her shoulders collapsing inward. Even she couldn't defend that. The final stand. The weight of 32 years pressed into my chest. Not as grief anymore, but as clarity. Perfect, crystalline clarity. I looked at each of them. The people I had begged silently for years to see me, and I finally told the complete truth. And quote, "I didn't lose my family tonight, and quote," I said quietly. And quote, "I just stopped pretending I had one." And quote, Mom gasped like I'd stabbed her. And quote, "Charlotte Ann Bennett, don't you dare talk like that." And quote, "Why?" And quote, I asked. And quote, "Because it threatens the story you built. The one where Madison is perfect, Dad is neutral, you're the peacemaker, and I'm the problem child for wanting basic acknowledgement." And quote, "No one ever said you were the problem," and quote, Dad whispered. And quote, "You didn't need to say it," and quote, I replied. And quote, "You showed it over and over. Every time you chose her over me. Every time you minimized my achievements to make room for hers. Every time you looked right through me to see her." And quote, Ryan sank back into his chair, looking between Madison and me, like he was watching the pieces of his marriage rearrange themselves into a shape he didn't recognize. Madison whispered, and quote, "Charlotte, please," and quote, that single word, and quote, please, and quote, carried years of fear, guilt, and the sudden realization that her control was gone. That the narrative she'd protected, that our parents had upheld, was crumbling. I stood slowly, pushing my chair back with a soft scrape against the floor. And quote, "I'm done begging for a place at this table," and quote, I said. And quote, "I'm done asking you to show up for me. I'm done pretending Madison's choices don't hurt. I'm done accepting your silence as anything but agreement with her behavior." And quote, I took a breath. And quote, "I'm done." And quote, Dad stood too, reaching out. And quote, "Charlotte, don't leave. Please, we can talk about this. We can fix this." And quote, "We are talking," and quote, I said. And quote, "For the first time. And for the last time under these terms," and quote, Mom's eyes brimmed with tears. And quote, "We can fix this. As a family, we can," and quote, "You can't fix what you refuse to acknowledge," and quote, I interrupted. And quote, "And you refused for 32 years." And quote, I picked up my coat from the back of my chair, feeling lighter with every movement. As I pulled it over my shoulders, I heard Madison sob quietly. I heard Mom mutter my name like a plea. I heard Dad say, and quote, "We should have checked. We should have asked. We should have noticed," and quote, but their remorse wasn't my responsibility anymore. I opened the front door. Cold November air rushed in, carrying the scent of rain and freedom. I paused just long enough to say, and quote, "You didn't miss my wedding. You chose not to see it. And that choice tells me everything I need to know about where I stand in this family," and quote. Then I stepped outside, letting the door close behind me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just firmly. A clean line, finally, drawn. And for the first time in my life, the silence that followed belonged to me. The aftermath. Finding real family. Owen opened our apartment door before I even reached it, like he'd been listening for my footsteps. One look at my face, and he didn't ask what happened. He just wrapped his arms around me and held on until the shaking stopped. No questions, no judgment, just presence. Something my birth family had never mastered. The next morning, Helen and Robert invited us over for breakfast. No ceremony, no pity, just warm food, real conversation, and the kind of attention that doesn't have to be earned or begged for. Helen squeezed my hand across the table and said, "And quote, your family here, Charlotte. Not because you married our son. Because you matter. Because we see you, and quote." I cried into my scrambled eggs. A week later, Madison sent a long email. It was therapeutic language, soft apologies, admissions of jealousy and insecurity. She admitted she'd intercepted the invitations because she and quote, couldn't handle sharing the spotlight, and quote, she said. She was seeing a therapist. She asked if we could talk, maybe have coffee, maybe start over. I read it. I didn't reply. Dad called every few days. Small steps, careful steps. He talked about the weather, asked about my work, slowly trying to rebuild something he'd never actually built in the first place. I let him try, but I didn't make it easy. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, he sent me a package. Inside was one of my original wedding invitations, pristine in its cream envelope. He'd found it buried in a storage box in the garage, exactly where Madison had hidden it. He included a note, and quote, "I should have looked for this sooner. I should have looked for you sooner. I'm sorry," and quote. It was the closest he'd come to a real apology. Mom never reached out. Not a call, not a text, not an email. And for the first time in my life, that absence didn't feel like a wound. It felt like an answer. She'd made her choice 32 years ago, and she was standing by it. 6 months later. It's May 2025 now. 6 months since that Thanksgiving dinner that changed everything. Owen and I celebrated our first anniversary with a small party. His parents came, of course. My college friends flew in. My co-workers brought wine and terrible karaoke. My apartment, our home, was filled with laughter and people who chose to show up. Dad sent flowers with a card that said, and quote, "Happy anniversary. I'm proud of you," and quote. It was simple, maybe even inadequate, but it was something. Madison sent nothing. Mom sent nothing. And I realized I wasn't waiting for them anymore. I used to believe family was something you protected, no matter what it cost you. That blood mattered more than anything. That you owed loyalty to the people who raised you, regardless of how they treated you. But standing in my home now, Owen cooking dinner while Helen teaches me her mother's dumpling recipe, laughter drifting in from friends who choose me every single day, I finally understood the truth. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up. It's who listens. It's who sees you, really sees you, and chooses to stay. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from the people who never learned how to hold you properly. Sometimes the bravest thing is choosing yourself. A message to anyone who needs to hear this. If any part of this story felt familiar, if you've ever been the invisible child, the forgotten sibling, the one who makes room for everyone else's shine, I want you to know something. You are not asking for too much when you ask to be seen. You are not being dramatic when you name the hurt. You are not breaking the family when you tell the truth. The family was already broken. You're just finally admitting it. And if you've been waiting for permission to walk away, to choose yourself, to draw that line in the sand, here it is. You're allowed. You're allowed to leave. You're allowed to build something better. You're allowed to find people who see you without you having to beg for it. Blood doesn't excuse mistreatment. History doesn't justify neglect. And you deserve so much more than the bare minimum painted as love.